What's going on, Phantom Force and Cosmogs stands alike? This is Phantom Base coming at you with our Week 1 NPCC match versus Serene Grace, coach of the, Chicago Shaymin Sky, I believe? Her link will be in the description below, and as you can clearly see, our team matchup is quite interesting. But really quick, I wanted to preface this with the fact that I know this is late, and this is probably going to be post-con for this season just because I don't have much time to record live anymore. But I will quickly go over the team that we brought. As you see, she has a Yanmega, an Infernape, Ditto, Mamoswine, Gudra, and a Hoople Unbound. We have a Scarf Flygon with enough speed to outspeed Scarfed Mamoswine, and we're rocking with U-Turn, Dragon Claw, Defog, and Earthquake, just because we need the Defog to get rid of some hazards. That's our only hazard removal at the moment. We have a max speed, max attack Kartana, so that we can creep an Infernape. We're running Supersonic Sky Strike this week, so we can Oko the Infernape, regardless of whether it's defensive or not. We have a physically defensive, somewhat speedy Manaphy here, with enough speed to creep Mamoswine, so we can one-shot it with a Surf, and still set up a Tail Glow. We could also set up a Tail Glow on it, and potentially just sweep the team. We also have a Magikarp Clefable with Moonblast, Flamethrower, Psychic, and Soft Boiled. It's a 3 attacks, which is very interesting, but the main point of this thing was to hit things like Infernape, as well as be able to hit some other threats on the team that she didn't bring, and also be able to take on Gudra pretty well. It's especially defensive Clefable, if I recall correctly. It's been a couple weeks since I had this match. Next up, we have an Air Balloon Chandelure with Shadow Ball, Flamethrower, Energy Ball, and Psychic 4 attacks. But we're running at max speed Timid, and the only reason for that is so we can at least potentially speed tie with Mamoswine. Mamoswine is a threat to my team. So obviously we had to deal with that. Our next Pokemon that we are bringing in is our physically defensive Crustle, which actually does pretty much wall Hoopa Unbound if it's physical. It also walls Mamoswine, it walls physical Infernape pretty well. And yeah, it's kind of our way to deal with Ditto too, because we can knock off the Choice Scarf and Toxic it if it's transformed into us. So yeah, without much further ado, we are going to get straight into this. I have to go kind of quickly, so let's hop on in. And because I am actually on break at work, so hopefully we can make this work. So yeah, we are battling Sarah, and she leads off with. I decided to lead off with my Flygon because it's a good Scarf option, and I wanted it to be outspeed Hoopa Unbound as well, which is, I believe, same speed tier as Mamoswine. So you could click U-turn, kill it in a shot. But she leads with the Yanmega, and I'm like, alright, if this thing is Scarf, we'll find out. But I decided to click U-turn because I wasn't creeping a Scarf Yanmega, so if she was max speed for some reason, she would outspeed me. And so we'd find out she's not Scarfed. And we go into our Clefable here to kind of check and see what kind of attack she wants to go for. She goes for a U-turn, which kind of tells me that she was just trying to scout what I would lead and see what I was going to switch into. So I'm expecting her to go into something like, I don't even know, but she goes into Hoopa Unbound. And I'm like, okay, she's obvious Gunk Shot is obvious. So we are easily looking at a physical Hoopa here, so I decided that we are 100% going to switch out. We're going to go into our Crustle to take on this Gunk Shot. We should take at least 4 of these Gunk Shots, so which is really, really good. And she does, in fact, go for reveal the Gunk Shot. I could have gone to Kartana, but didn't want to risk the Fire Punch prediction. So we made a great middle ground play here, just going into Crustle. And we take some leftovers recovery, and I was like, we're going to take up this time to set up our rocks. And she decides to switch out, and I believe she goes into her Ditto, and to see what my Crustle set is, and that's a perfectly valid play. And I decided to go for my rocks here, just so we can get them up and keep them up, or have them up. Because if I recall correctly, she didn't bring any hazard removal outside of Yanmega, which I doubt is going to be any sort of defog, if it does get defog at all. But this turn, she reveals that she is Scarfed because she does go for rocks, and I decided to go for knockoff, so that we won't have to deal with this thing being a potential threat to the rest of my team later if she does transform into my Kartana. Now, in retrospect, this could have been kind of trouble, but at the end, it would have worked out better for me to have the Scarf gone. Now, this turn I had to go for a Toxic, and luckily I landed, and we decided in this turn we're going to end up trading Toxics, which is perfectly fine. It's not a huge deal for my Crustle, only because it pretty much did its job. It got rocks up, and it took care it statused the Ditto, which is what I wanted it to do. So regardless of what it turned into, it could not be able to handle, or it was gonna be on a timer because I knew it wasn't gonna have leftovers and I would knock its item off anyway. So she decides to withdraw and go into her Infernape, which was perfectly fine with me. She knew my moveset and knew that I couldn't hit it super effectively at all. So I double out into my Clefable, expecting her to go into her Hoopa, or something special, maybe Gudra. So I decide here I'm going to directly attack this Infernape because I want to get some damage and see what kind of set it's going to be. And she goes for a Taunt, which I was like, okay, she's expecting some kind of Heal Bell. But instead, I go for Moonblast to go for an attack, which is one of the better predictions I made this match, because after this is kind of she decides to U-turn out, which is perfectly fine. I decide to go for another Moonblast in case she wants to double out into Hoopa or something, predicting my Psychic, or going into Gudra predicting a Psychic, and kind of chewing that up because she's got to be Assault Vest. And as she takes rocks damage, and as soon as I do this Moonblast, I realize that she is Assault Vest, but we do manage to hit a crit, which is really unfortunate for her. But in the late game, it doesn't matter, and the only reason for that is because it would have changed the turn that's coming up. That I'll explain in just a second. She reveals she has Sludge Wave, which I perfectly expected, but we are especially defensive. We should be able to take 2 of these pretty easily. And see, we treat that pretty well. We go for a Moonblast, and this is where in the late game, the Sludge Wave didn't matter. One, because we were Magic Guard, so if we got poisoned, it wouldn't make a difference, because we're not going to be taking any damage from it. Now, on the other side of this, because Taunt wore off this turn, because she would have gone for Sludge Wave, if she had more HP, I would have had to go for a Soft Boiled here, which I did have. So, I would have gone for Soft Boiled here rather than Moonblast, but because I knew Moonblast would kill from this range, I did go for it. And we do take out the Gudra, which is good, because this thing was a huge threat to my team. And now, next up on the list to take down is whatever comes in next. But I'm thinking, you know what? At this rate, Wanda's done its job. It took out the Gudra, which is a huge threat to my team overall. And so I decide that we're just going to sack this thing off, and hopefully we can. And we go for Flamethrower, hoping that maybe it won't kill us with the Air Slash. But as you see, this thing is a decent bit of special attack investment, and it does kill us. Which is, like I said, it was fine. I was sacking anyway. I was just hoping I would be able to get a Flamethrower off and kill this thing. But as you're about to see here in a second, this thing is going to prove to be a huge problem. One, because she's actually max speed, max special attack. Like, for whatever reason, I don't know. I don't have any base 95s on my team, so max doesn't make much sense. But she decides that she's going to go for another Air Slash, and I'm like, okay, we're Scarf. I can lock myself into Dragon Claw at this point and start killing things. But we flinch. So I'm like, ugh, okay. Well, luckily for the spread that I have, this Air Slash should not kill me. Their second Air Slash should not kill me, and I should be able to kill this thing off with a Dragon Claw, because Dragon Claw does minimum like 65 to 70%. And so she clicks Air Slash again, and wouldn't you know it, we live on 4 and flinch again. So at this point, I'm like, crap. Alright, well, since I haven't gone for a move yet, I'm not locked in anything, I'm going to go for a Defog in case she magically misses an Air Slash, or decides to go for to switch out or something, I don't know. I just went for Defog in the random hope that something would happen, but she goes for Ancient Power, which was a smart play, but at the same time, like, now she's just fishing for extra hacks here. But that's quite alright. That's the game for you. But you'll see later, this really cost us the game. These 2 flinches really cost us the game. So this thing's up like +4 now. We're going to go out to Crustle and get rid of this thing's leftover so it cannot heal up anymore. I really need to make sure this thing cannot do any more, or recover any more health, so that we can potentially kill it with something else. As she goes for an Air Slash, I'm like, please don't flinch me again. And luckily, we were able to get the knockoff off, get rid of this thing's leftovers, do a good chunk of damage to it too, so that it cannot heal up anything else. Now, you'll see later as well that there's another bit of RNG against us that cost us the game as well, which I will explain in just a short bit. But as you see, we're going to let Crustle go down because it has done its job as far as setting up rocks and getting rid of these items and things. So she kills us off with an Ancient Power, which I'm like, alright. Luckily she didn't get any of the boosts from that, otherwise we'd have been in a huge heap of trouble. We do decide to go out to our Manaphy now, because from this range we can kill with an Ice Beam. Even if it goes for Giga Drain, it can't kill us, and it actually can't 2-hit kill us, and we will still be able to kill with an Ice Beam. Which she does reveal the Giga Drain, and we still live with a good amount of HP left. She pulls up to about 55-60%, and we click Ice Beam. And luckily for us, I say luckily, there wasn't a roll, it was a guaranteed kill, but we do kill with the Ice Beam. Finally, that annoying thing got out of our hair. Now, the obvious problem here is that she's going to switch in Hoopa, but Hoopa is a huge threat to Manaphy. And now I'm just like, alright, I'm going to either sack Manaphy or at least find out whether this thing is scarped or not, because I didn't know. So I go for Surf and find out where this thing is not scarped, so we can kill it later with Kartana. And I want to see what kind of moveset she's got. She goes for Thunder Punch. Like, alright, she's fully physical. This Hoopa is fully physical, so we can easily go into Kartana here, outspeed and kill. So that's what we do. We go into our Kartana and we decide that we're going to go straight out for an X Scissor just to make sure that we kill this thing. A little bit of overkill, never killed anybody. Except for this Hoopa. But, so we're going to knock this thing out with an X Scissor, and all will be well. And I'm running very, very late for my break, but that is okay. I will get back later. She goes into her Ditto here, which tells me she's trying to steal my stat boost, which is fine. That was the point of Ditto, but that's the reason why I did not pack Sacred Sword on this thing, so she could not kill me in a shot. That's like half the reason I didn't bring that. She goes for an Aerial Ace when I was sitting here like, okay, X Scissor would have done more, which is why I went for X Scissor. And as you can clearly see, that's going to do a lot of damage, and the poison is going to help rack up some more extra damage. But see, right here, these two speed ties that she wins cost me the game. Really is what cost me the game. Had I been able to win at least one of them, I would have been in good range to switch out and not die from rocks on entry. Or not die from an Ice Shard from Mamoswine at the next entry. So she goes. So instead, I would have been able to switch out here on her Vacuum Wave to go into my Chandelure, take this thing out, and as you find out, because we had to sack off our Kartana here, so we could potentially still win. But we decided to let her kill us off the Vacuum Wave. But had we been able to switch out a lot more freely, we'd have gone into our Chandelure, absorbed the Vacuum Wave because nothing would have happened. And it turns out right here, as you'll see, we are Air Balloon, and we do outspeed this Infernape. So she is like a bulky Infernape for some reason. And we click Psychic and kill this thing off. And next up is the Mamoswine, which the roll to kill this thing with Energy Ball from my spread is minimum 87 to like 104. And after rocks, it's going to be 88%. So I'm like, alright, we pretty much kill this thing with Energy Ball and win here. But as you can clearly see, this is not the case. It lives. We get the only mineral possible to not kill this thing, and she kills it with a knockoff. So, like I said, had we been in the position to be able to not have to worry about Kartana switching back in after killing that thing off, we would have been fine. But, you know, it is what it is. That's the game. Good game, Sarah. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you in week 2. Bye, guys.